If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Check it out now.
Bam! We're live. There we go. Wednesday morning, January 22nd, 2024. Beating the Book podcast, MegaPod for championship round of the National Football League. Gill Alexander, thanks for joining us on Twitter. I'm going to retweet this biatch. Get people to watch us. Let's see here. Where do I go? I go to VSiN, I believe.
There it is.
And we'll retweet it. Up. Bang. All right.
There you go.
Appreciate everybody tuning in. By the way, not only our regulars, Todd Wishnev, who is not in his mom's cork attic. Why are you downstairs, Todd? Back hurts, you said?
My hip is killing me, and I can't sit in the regular chairs. So I'm sitting in a recliner because my hip is in very, very bad shape.
Well, you look
because I look like a picture of health. You can't be any healthier.
You look,
and by healthier, I mean,
and then
I'm day to day in death.
Okay, stop it.
That's promising.
What's better than questionable? It's better than questionable or doubtful. Day to day is better.
Will Hill, not from his mom's cork attic, but in front of a big VSiN thing in Connecticut, at not the Will Hill. By the way, Todd is at T Wishnev on Twitter. Will is the host of the Shoulda Bet More podcast and also part of the Bear Bets Empire at Fox and Fox Sports. How you doing, man?
I'm cold. I'm very cold. It's so cold outside that it's cold inside. That's how cold it is outside, but I'm good otherwise.
What's the temperature?
It was,
who knows? Woke up and it was like 6 or something. It's crazy.
Last night it was -5 here. It was -5 in last night.
It was 25 in Vegas. How about that? Then you run for your balmy. 25. Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth person you see here is a familiar face to all. The iconic silhouette that is the Bear, Chris Fallica from Fox Sports. Bear Bets podcast, pro football and college football. When do you do those? Tomorrow? The pro version anyway?
Yes, Thursday. No, obviously no more college, but NFL will be Thursday. So
yeah.
I seen that guy on TV in that.
Rarely on TV.
I seen that guy on Saturday mornings down there talking to them idiots, Leinert and that. I don't like him.
Yeah, I can call them idiots because they're in the take the points posse, and I was so fired up watching the commies on Saturday night, like going for it on fourth down. It was just beautiful. Hopefully the take the points posse is now been converted into understanding win probability and expected points added, and how like if you go for it 3 times and you miss it once, or you miss it twice and you still score 1 touchdown, 7 points is more than 6, and that actually kind of works out. Yeah, I was told by my wife 1 degree this morning here, Will, in Farmington when she was driving to work. So yeah, cold is you know what.
Yeah, Bears looks like he lost a little weight, and I think a couple more pounds. He's got like the Danny Hurley thing almost going, where he's got the glasses, the bald head. I'm waiting for him to start like screaming at the refs for something.
Also, I'll scream at you and Todd if you want.
So, do you know who I am? I'm on television. Don't go against me. I'm on television. Don't turn your back on me. Who the hell do you think you are? I'm on Fox Sports Saturday.
By the way, I don't want to usually I'm not a toot your horn guy, because whenever you do that, it's imminent to you're going to go on a losing streak. But on the pod this year, the college pod at least, our best bets, I went 16-5 and Jeff went 15-6, 31-11. Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't even know about it until the quarterfinals of the playoff. Our producer was like, by the way, Bear, you've hit 8 straight best bets, and Jeff, you've hit 6 straight best bets in college, and your record's on the year. I'm like, Wish you would have known about that earlier. So, yeah.
What did
on record?
How did Will and Sammy P do? Did Will bet on the Titans in college football also?
Yes, every week. Yes, he bet on the Remember the Titans from the movie. That was the team he bet on every week.
He torpedoed himself by betting the Tennessee Titans in the NFL time and time again early in the season. So he took himself out of any competition.
Todd, to answer your question, the college picks column this year, 58, 37, and 2. That's what I wound up.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
And let it be known that you are now on the final leg of cross sport parlays here. Can you explain to people what's going on?
Well, I think it's only fitting that we talk about it because I think we initially discussed this during the summer with you on a numbers game when I was in Los Angeles, because this is when these bets were made. When I was in LA and I flew to Phoenix basically for 5 hours I had a deposit bonus that I needed to exercise on both DraftKings and FanDuel. And these just happened to be at FanDuel because these were the better prices that I was able to get. But yeah, I was in LA working the soccer for the summer, and it was right before the Open Championship. So I basically wound up putting together decent investment. I mean, about $5,000. I guess I said I wound up investing on a bunch of cross-board parlays with it wound up being like I think 5 or 6 guys to win the Open Championship, and Xander wound up winning the Open at 11-1 was his price there. College football, I pretty much assumed it was either going to be Georgia or Ohio State to win the national championship. We talked about the Georgia and Ohio State bet versus the field, which we also have at South Point. I need to go visit your Mishpucha at some point and collect on that. Aaron Judge was also, I'm sorry, forgive me. I can't do it as good as you. Aaron Judge was a single leg to win the AL MVP. At the time, he was still only 300, I think, somewhere around there. But it was pretty apparent.
South Point too?
No. That was not at the South Point. I couldn't get to Vegas to bet that in person, nor did the South Point app work in Arizona for me.
Gotcha.
So no, we're good. Then I had the Liberty and the Aces to win the WNBA title, and if you remember, Game 5 of the Liberty. I thought that was. I don't remember that game, Todd.
Yes,
ridiculous fouls at the end. Well. I was life and death watching the end of that game. And my girl John Qual Jones, he's my version of Willie's Dejanay Harrington. So she got me home there. And then I had
he doesn't like Dejanay. He doesn't like Dejanay Harrington. You like John Qual Jones. You in your case,
thank God for John Qual Jones because Iniescu was terrible that game. I think she was like 2 of 90, and I think it was revealed that she was playing with some type of major injury, which basically meant she couldn't shoot. But then I had
Asia Wilson would have been the person you would have hated. Asia Wilson or Jackie Young or
well, I would have been fine with that. I would have been fine with a Liberty Aces WNBA championship series because that would have meant that was good either way. But they were good to me the last couple of years. They were good to me the last couple of years winning the title. And then I had a Super Bowl winner: Eagles, Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Niners. And here we are. I got 3 of the 4 remaining teams. So if the Eagles win on Saturday, I am guaranteed to have both Super Bowl compadres and to take home a nice score.
So which team makes obviously the Commanders are the one that makes you nothing. Which is the one that makes you the most of the 3 remaining?
The Eagles. The Eagles make me the most, a little bit more than the Bills. And then the Chiefs obviously were the favorite or co-favorite at the time. So that'll it's still a very nice high 5-figure score. That's for sure. And then Gill, if you're happy on Sunday afternoon, then I just have to play your team in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. By the way, if they win Sunday, you coming to New Orleans?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
See you there.
I told my bosses in advance that that's the only scenario where I'm not going to be in Vegas, but I'm willing to do a show, but I will be in New Orleans. Because I vowed when I walked out of Minneapolis in 1992 that I would never miss another Skins Super Bowl. And as the joke goes, and I've kept my promise ever since.
You're perfect.
So, that's right. I'm perfect. So this would be the one 60 minutes away, which is incredible. Let me add for Dumbo of the Week last week, before we get to our bets, if we have any for championship week, and we're not beholden to two, but if we have a bet, we'll hear it from everybody. Dumbo of the Week, there's only two candidates, and I actually have to rope in Marcus Freeman as candidate number 2. Marcus Freeman for attempting a field goal with 9:33 left, down 16 to Ohio State. He is candidate number 1. And candidate number 2, and the only real Dumbo of the Week from a coaching perspective in the NFL during the divisional round, was Tony Sirianni. And I want to get the details of this right. This is at the end of the first half.
Nick Sirianni.
I don't know if you remember.
Nick Sirianni. Yeah.
What did I say? Tony Sirianni? What am I? Tony.
He might have a
What's
brother Tony. I'm sure there is a Tony Sirianni in Philadelphia. That would not be
Tony Sirianni. As I said it, I was like, is that his name? Nick Sirianni. The score is 13-10 Philadelphia. Late second half, Philly started with the ball with 5:18 left. They got out of a 3rd and 14 jail at their own 5 with a pass to Saquon for 16, and they matriculate the ball down up the field. By the way, the first half spread was in question here. It was -4 for Philly. They're up 3 here. They get to 2nd and 1 at the Rams 37. Hurts goes deep to Brown. He bobbles it in the corner. You remember it? He only corrals it.
Should have totally had it. Should have absolutely had that ball. It was an absolute joke drop.
You had a bet based on that, right, Todd, if I'm not mistaken?
Well, I had over 49.5 in the game, and I squeaked it out in a miracle, but I wouldn't have had to have a miracle had he caught the ball.
So they're just on the edge of field goal range. That's incomplete. Then after they do get the first down. So now they're in field goal range. 2nd and 8 at the Rams 32 with 30 seconds left. Hurts is sacked by Omar Spates. He fumbles, but Gainwell falls on it, but way back at the Rams 47. So they lose 15 yards. But there's 21 seconds left, and Philly has a timeout, and Sirianni just stares at it. To the point where Mike Tirico goes, Sirianni just says, hold right here. Don't know if he's going to take a timeout for one last shot at the end zone or let it run down. Doesn't call it till 3 seconds left. And then, by the way, Verse sacked Hurts to end the half, and Philly goes into the locker room only up 3. Obviously, they eventually win it by 6. But between Marcus Freeman and that, who's the bigger Dumbo? And by the way, let me just add also to Philly, because to me, I would vote Marcus Freeman in that. But I will add to the Philly part. Also, when they were up 2 scores late and they had been crushing Stafford on the blitz all game, they all of a sudden just called off the dogs, and the Rams matriculated easily down the field.
Way too soft.
They acted like there was 30 seconds left, not like 3 or 4 minutes. It was
right.
Very strange.
And then ended up with the ball right after a 3 and out, ended up with the ball with a chance to win, the Rams did. So Freeman versus Sirianni, who gets done.
One other one I would like to nominate, as I do know a little bit about parking. I do talk about parking quite a bit. I actually had some free tickets to go to the Eagles game, and my friend is a really big Eagles fan who lives here. He's from Philadelphia, so I said, "Okay, I'll go with you if you want to drive up." So we go to the game. Now it's supposed to snow, right? So they said, "Okay, let's park like somewhere on the north of the SEPTA line in downtown, and then we'll take the train to the stadium, because otherwise you're going to get stuck in all the snow and everything like that." So we do that. And then now, I don't know if you guys watched this game, but there was snow. Like, first of all, I can't believe they were catching the ball in that snow, because when we were walking to the subway station, the snow was so thick. I was like, how could you even see in this? It was unbelievable. So we're walking back to the train station, but it turns out everybody else in Philadelphia also heard that there was snow coming. So they decided to do the train too. So now you can't get into the goddamn station outside the Citizens Bank and the Link, and we're literally like sardines packed in there, moving like one step forward every 3 minutes. At the same time, I'm going, does anybody have the Ravens game on their phone? Because my phone won't work, because everybody's phone is trying to do this. So I'm giving play-by-play in the snow with everybody like stacked together. I'm like, it's 3rd and 7, 8:27 to go, first quarter. Allen looks, no! And people are laughing their heads off because I'm doing amazing play-by-play. But meanwhile, we're going literally one step forward every 2 minutes. It took us an hour and a half to finally get on the train. And then it was another 45 minutes on the train. But I was like, here's a thing. Don't take the train if it's snowing in Philadelphia. Otherwise, forget about it. Or go do something else. That's why I said, why don't we just go over to the casino and watch the game there? They're like, oh, we're not going to get into the game. Anyways, whatever. It's just aggravating.
It should be noted. It should be noted that Todd has a history of wanting to park very far away from arenas and stadiums. Once we went to Summer League here in Vegas and we parked damn near the airport. And I'm like, Todd, what are we doing? We can drive right to the arena.
No, that's my trick. That's my trick spot. That's my free parking spot at Thomas and Mack. There's like a side street there across the street from the parking lot. Spot. So you can, it's a trick spot. And that you don't have to pay the $20 for the parking. But that was when I could, that's not a walking issue. That's, you're right across the street from the parking lot.
I was like,
I don't like was it $80 to park at the SEPTA?
I don't know what it was. It was actually, I think it was like $2 for the train, but had we parked, I don't even know how much it was to park in that. But there were yahoos out in that snow tailgating, like you can't believe. Like it was unbelievable. The whole scene was it was incredible.
It's also why who were the announcers for that game? I can't remember.
That was Burkhart. That was Burkhart and Brady. That was the Fox game.
Burkhart and Brady. No, I thought Burkhart and Brady were the Skins.
Wait,
game.
For which game? For the Eagles
game?
No,
you're right.
Eagles was the NBC crew, Tirico and Collinsworth.
Tirico, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Tirico.
Yeah, so Tirico and Collinsworth were giving the Rams punt returner, Xavier Smith, is that the punt returner for the Rams? Where he just let the ball bounce right on the final drive and it got all the way back to the 12. And they were kind of murdering him for doing that. I'm like, he's a rookie. He's like, yeah, just let him. That was the smart play. Just let it bounce. Don't make a mistake. I get it. You don't know that it's going to bounce to the 12. I thought they were a little rough on him with the snow.
Yeah, you're taking the risk of a fumble at a play. Like at least you're getting the ball and you're going to give your offense a chance to. And they did. They worked their way. They matriculated their way down the field, as you would say.
Yep.
On a numbers game on guessing lines, and they had a shot.
Yep. Xavier Smith, that's who it was. Anyway, so Freeman versus Sirianni, whoever you choose.
Freeman. I go Freeman. I mean, you 13 points with 8:54, I think it was to go. Like you're basically saying we still need 2 touchdowns and we got to stop them twice. Like they weren't stopping them all game. I think they punted once up to that point. So yeah, like the math wasn't with them to kick the field goal. 9:33 left. Because whenever you get a chance to get a 2-score game to a 2-score game, you got to take that opportunity.
I want to add one other one, Gilly.
Jeter doinks the 27 yard.
I want to add one more. The Lions offensive coordinator for panicking very early in that football game. And you're going to all say, oh, well, first of all, he throws the stupid halfback Jameson Williams thing. Okay, that's fine. That was just a complete panic.
That was awful.
But I felt that the panic was setting in the second quarter when it was like Goff, I think they were down 14-10 still, and Goff was throwing bombs on 3rd and 2 and 4th and 2. And I'm thinking, these guys are scared that the Redskins are moving the ball on them and they're starting to panic. And then the last throw, when he throws the interception in the end zone late in the first half, also felt to me like a panic throw by Goff. And that obviously cost them a touchdown there. But it felt like the whole time they were nervous. We're behind this team and we can't stop them. Let's do something. And then, of course, the halfback pass is just unconscionable there. And it's not like you need to trick them. Every play you're running is gashing them. The Lions were getting like 9 yards a play. It was obscene, and then you're going to run a goof. Go ahead.
You're blaming Ben Johnson for the golf passes, though. I agree with you on the Jameson Williams thing because you can't put it in the hands of someone who, by the way, just in life doesn't have great judgment, right? On the football field or not. But like you could tell when you were watching that live, nobody was open by his hesitation. And I'm like, and as a Skins fan, I'm like, please throw it. Because I know whatever's on the other end is not going to be open. And it goes to Sandra Still and it's a pick.
No, but why run that play?
Oh, no, exactly. I agree with you.
It's not like you needed to trick them. It's not like a Ravens against Patriots, playoff game where they had to play the Amendola trick because they weren't moving the ball. They were moving the ball like there was no tomorrow. If they don't turn the ball over, they score 8 million points. That's what I'm saying. So there's no need for that.
One more aside,
you know what,
with
Ben
that.
Johnson?
And look, it's been talked about forever. I don't know what the solution is. It's very hard to convince me that it looks like Aaron Glenn's going to take the Jets job. It's very hard to convince me both coordinators are going to get hired 4 days after a game, but they're 100% completely focused. You can't be like applying for your dream job interviews. Those interviews are long, they're extensive, they're exhausting. And then you have to coach a game, a couple days later. It's hard to believe both those coordinators are completely locked in. They're going to all say the right things after, hey, we were completely focused, didn't distract us. That's hard to buy. It's just hard to buy.
I agree, man, because you're basically trying to put a staff together to say, like, okay, I'm going to hire this guy as my coordinator, this guy as whatever, a staff you need to assemble. And yeah, you can say, oh, the agent was handling a lot of the contract negotiations and the interview process. But yeah, I agree. And that's something that we also run into a lot in college football during bowl seasons, where we get coaches that leave and just basically take another job in bowl season. And I know that has been a very profitable angle as well in college football with the interim head coach, and then you get the massive player departure as well.
I told this story, by the way. Ben Johnson, for all of his play calling, or error, if you believe in that, to the calling the Jameson Williams play, is the head coach, the new head coach of the Chicago Bears. And I told this story on the radio side this week, which, if true, immediately tells me he's a bad hire. I had always thought that Ben Johnson was, Washington was very interested in him being their coach last year. And I had always heard the story that the reason Ben Johnson ultimately stayed with the Lions, the whole, we got more work to do here in Detroit kind of thing, but was that he thought the Washington brass was too basketball-y. Josh Harris being the owner of the Sixers, Bob Myers from the Golden State Warriors, and of course, Magic Johnson himself being a part owner of the Skins. So that was the story that we heard, and it's like, okay, whatever, if you think that, whatever, glad you weren't the coach. But then there's a Washington insider, and I apologize for not remembering his name, but he told this story last week. He goes, that's actually not the story. He said that Adam Peters, who, by the way, for me is the best GM in football, beyond Jaden Daniels, he and the Redskins brass took the plane to Detroit to go interview Ben Johnson. And on the plane, he's talking to Ben Johnson via telephone, and they're saying, so we're going to draft Jaden Daniels. Let's get ahead of this interview and let's talk about, some of the plans, what you would do, what you conceive of with Jaden Daniels. And he's like, I want to design an offense around Sam Howell. And they had to say, no, you don't understand. We're drafting Jaden Daniels. The Bears are going to take Caleb first. We're going to draft Jaden Daniels second. Hey, so this is what we're going to do. And he's like, no, I want to do it around Sam Howell.
Yeah, Sam Howell's not going to be here, but that's not an option.
To which the story then goes, Adam Peters said, turn this plane around. So I don't know if that story is true.
That's insane.
Then that is the biggest red flag of all of it, because to me, the number one quality in any coach, Todd, you know this from the Joe Gibbs School of Great Coaching, is the ability to adapt to your personnel, your X's and O's to your personnel, no matter what your strengths and weaknesses are, to adapt. That's a good coach. And if he's unable to do that, oh boy, man.
Well, first of all, it's easier to design an offense around Howell. You just call the play and he gets sacked.
That's what I mean.
Pretty much that's how you do it.
No, but what it tells me is that, like, if that's true, he was reticent to want to design an offense around a multi-dimensional quarterback. He'd rather have a traditional pocket passer.
But isn't that what he has now in Caleb Williams in Chicago?
Well, no, I think he has more of I think he views Caleb Williams as more of a traditional pocket passer. Okay. I still think, by the way, let me give Wishnev the biggest credit in the world. I have quoted Todd on this Caleb Williams, what's the word I'm looking for? Scouting report, more than anything I've ever quoted Todd on, which is, it's the best one I've heard. I always run the Merrill Hodge, or my producers run the Merrill Hodge one on a numbers game, which is, he's nothing special. He's nothing special, which is what Merrill Hodge said on a numbers game before the draft about Caleb. But Todd's, to me, was always the best, which is, let me get this straight. Do correct me if I'm wrong on the quote here, Todd. But ever since you saw Caleb Williams not performing that great with the Bears, I know there are some people who still believe in him. But Todd's reaction was, let me get this straight. A guy who his best plays at USC were him frantically running around for his life like a whirling dervish until his 5-star receivers got open against usually their 4-star opponents. And then he made a play. Like, that's the guy who's not succeeding in the NFL. What a surprise! Which I think wasn't his best scouting report.
It was all of his plays. If you just watch the USC games, every play was that. It wasn't like anything, I mean, I wonder whether these guys, it's just like with the Jaden Daniels. I watch college football, I don't know, maybe 15 hours a week on Saturday nights and then all the other nights too. But I'm saying from noon till 2 a.m., I try to watch a million college football games. So I probably, if there's like, let's say there's, 40 on TV, I'll catch, glimpses of 30.
Including Wyoming and San Diego State.
Of course. Well, you have to watch Wyoming San Diego State. You get Nevada. You got all those good late night teams. But my point is, if you're watching Daniels the year before and you're seeing what he's doing at LSU, it was so unbelievable. I mean, you could just bet the over in those games. You just watch a drive or two. You're like, oh, well, forget it. They're going to score 45. This is for sure. It was so outstanding. And then all this talk about these other quarterbacks. I'm like, Caleb, compared to him, just watch the games. I don't understand. Did these guys not watch the games? It's amazing.
Say it every year. What happens between the last college football game and the NFL draft is always mind-boggling. How some of these teams talk themselves into, like, Michael Crabtree, I remember being a great example of that, right? He dropped all the way to like the 10th pick, I want to say. Whereas like, how did we go from he's the greatest wide receiver ever to now he's only the 10th pick once we got to the draft? Like it's littered with players through the years like that where they talk themselves out of it between then and
because they go to the combine. And they say, oh, well, he's 4.2 on his this, and his wrist damage is this, and
his hand is only 7.29 inches as opposed to 7.4.
We looked at his bowel top and he's got good floaters, and so we're for sure that clearly is the everyone knows
high
most top picks are floaters. Who
was the quarterback with the hand size? Who was that?
Burrow had small hands, and that was a concern. Was it Burrow?
I remember.
There was somebody.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was like 4. Yeah, they really.
So the moral of the story is the books are going to retroactively cash my Jaden Daniels 39-1 to be the number 1 overall pick. They're going to
you and my Stroud number 1 from last year. Both of us can go to the same book and cash those.
By the way, I think they're sleeping on that Dart guy. Did they not watch Lane Kiffin run it up 77-0 or 76-0 against Furman? I mean, I don't know. I don't know why all these. Who are the two top I forget who the two top quarterbacks that they're all talking about.
Cam Ward.
I'm sorry, Ward in
Colorado.
Right. Both of them to me are not that much better than Dart, if they're better than Dart at all.
I could not agree with you more.
That's what I asked Chris. That's what I asked him on a numbers game a couple weeks ago. I go, are we sure that either Ward or Sanders are any good at all? And you said, Chris,
I would not take either of them at number 1. Like I would, if I'm Tennessee and I'm drafting at the top, if someone wants to overpay and mortgage for a number 1 pick to take one of them, fine. But if I'm Tennessee, I'm taking either Abdul Carter on the end, or I'm taking Travis Hunter, a guy who you can decide with him how much you want to use him, wide receiver and cornerback on the back end around in the second round. You take a Jackson Dart, or if you want to take a flyer on. Looks like Quinn Ewers is going in the draft. I don't know how good he's going to be or how far away. Yeah, I'm not there. Believe me, but you guys know it's a bad quarterback draft, and I think that's why people are elevating both Cam and Shedeur into like this. How they're going to go 1 and 2 in the draft or whatever. When
by the way, they may be good. I'm not saying they're not going to be good. I'm just saying, how do you watch all those games and tell me that Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward are like way better than Dart? It's not. It's not true. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand it.
Who is number 3, Chris? If you had to pick right now, who's third behind those two? If it is even 3 behind those,
it probably is Dart, right? I mean, I'm trying to think who else is even going to be. I mean, Will Howard's not going to go like that high. That's not an
It's
option.
not Milroe. Right?
Milroe's not NFL.
No, I can't imagine. Oh God, I can't imagine that. I'd take Dart before I would Milroe. I can't wait to see these quarterback draft position props come out on Jackson Dart. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they like put like a 32.5 on there just to see if he sneaks into the first round. Like that would be wild. Because they always got. They always get drafted higher.
Dart will be better than Milrow. Put me down. Dart will be better than Milrow.
Absolutely.
These teams justifiably get quarterback crazy on draft day because they all want to hit on a Jaden Daniels or something. So here, Mel Kiper with his first mock draft for 2025 this morning. He has the Titans taking Cam Ward, number 1. He's got Cleveland going Travis Hunter, number 2. The Giants get Shedeur at 3. The Patriots go Abdul Carter at 4. That's Mel Kiper's 4. And there's all these kinds of Dion conspiracies, right? Where it's like he knows, or the conspiracy goes that Cleveland, he's going to make sure Cleveland doesn't take Shedeur. He's going to make it known that Shedeur will not play in Cleveland. So therefore they will take Travis Hunter. And then he's going to want Jerry Jones to get to 3 so that he can play for Dallas. And then he'll be the coach. And there's all kinds of theories about that. Who knows? Is Kellen Moore going to be their coach, by the way? Is that the front runner now? Someone was saying
Brian Schottenheimer getting a second interview. I mean, man, some strange interviews.
I think they're waiting for Moore. That's my guess. Okay. Todd, was there any in game before we get the picks? Any in game?
Not really. I didn't really have anything that spectacular. I mean, I did play the Lions over 30.5 after they fumbled that ball down going in, and I got the 30.5, and thankfully they kicked the field goal down 17. So that was interesting. But anyways,
remember we threw those texts back and forth. We're like, is Dan Campbell going to do the right thing and kick the field goal here? Yeah.
Yep,
he did.
Yep. Yeah. But so on the just to talk about what you guys did last week, Willie had a real nice playoffs so far. He went 1-1 to go to 3-1. He had the Texans under. I lost the over 37.5 on that missed field goal by Kaimi Fairbairn. And I told Sean, my friend, who we were on the way to Philadelphia for the game, and I told him, I said, here's what's going to happen. They're going to be down 11. They're going to drive down and they're going to kick a field goal. And Kaimi Fairbairn is going to miss the field goal. And because of that, it's going to land 35, or 37 because of the safety. But I knew exactly what was going to. Anyways, Will had a nice pick there. Under 41.5 Texans. He lost with the Ravens along with you, Gilly. And then, so he goes to 3-1 for the playoffs. He wins his teaser. He's the only one who's 2-0 on teasers. Chiefs and Bills was a winning teaser, right, Willie? Yeah, yes. That's right. And then Gilly, everybody lost with the Lions teaser portion. Gilly went 0-1-1 with the tie on the Rams and the lose on the Ravens. I lost with the Lions and the under and the Eagles. And Drew Dinsick had the Texans plus 8.5. So that did not get home. And then the Eagles. So that was whatever. A shame. But we have to go with the Lions. We go with the Lions.
What was the guess record? What was Drew's other pick?
Drew had Texans and Eagles. Eagles -6 pushed.
Okay.
Texans were never not the right side in that game either. That's a shit loss right there, man. That's rough.
Yeah. But why did Kaimi Fairbairn? He didn't practice kicking rocks before the other kicker wasn't having a ball.
He looked so bundled up. That's just one where they cut to him on the sideline, man. I don't know that I trust this guy making a kick. He looked cold.
Oh, well, as soon as he lined up from 35, I'm like, there's no way he's making this field goal. I turned at Sean. I said, this is for sure not going to make it. And by the way, he did not make it. He kicked it into the butt of the line. He didn't even kick the ball. It was like if me and you went out to the field and tried to kick a field goal. It was so low.
But then for those folks who had the Chiefs -9.5, of course, it didn't end up mattering because Matt Ariza was told from I want to say the 18-yard line or the 14-yard line. I should check on that. But one of those yard lines, I think it was the 18, to run it back and take a safety. Did any of you think that was going to happen?
No,
I did not.
No, but I did say when we're like, oh, what a bad beat this is going to be for the Chiefs. I thought I didn't text out. I go, they do have to punt still, so it's not like they can run out the whole clock. Never thinking it would matter. But man, that was one where I audibly gasped. I just started laughing.
Wasn't shocking.
It was kind of shocking.
Really?
I was kind of shocked. I mean, it was so unnecessary.
It was the 18-yard line. I just checked. It was the 18-yard line, 4th and 15. I get it. You don't want to punt and risk and that sort of thing.
Blocked or whatever.
I was a little surprised by the 18-yard line.
There was not enough time for them to do anything. I'm glad they did. I had the Texans plus 9.5. I'm glad they did.
By the way, the The other thing, and the last thing we didn't talk about for divisional round is this whole thing about the officiating going the Chiefs' way in Kansas City, the Mahomes late slide, which Houston got flagged for because 2 Houston Texans crashed into each other, and that gave the Chiefs 15 yards earlier. The phantom roughing the passer on Will Anderson Jr. Against Mahomes, which extended that drive. And there was another play where I think it was Noah Gray clearly didn't get a first down. They gave it to him, and then they're like, oh, yeah, I guess he didn't get it. Let's mark it back. So I think the worst outcome for the league this week is Kansas City winning an officials aided game would just be a disaster. Like, people would lose their mind.
By the way, did you see that? Like, Ron Torbert's crew is like doing the Super Bowl now too. Like, how does that happen? And then you get your conspiracy theorists. You get your conspiracy theorists out there, like the image that the NFL put out there is like red and yellow trim. It's like, see, there you go. Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl now. Ron Torbert and a yellow and red Twitter picture announcing the officiating crew.
Which is funny because this whole Chiefs run started in that AFC title game versus Brady and the Patriots, where they had a ring wiped off the board pretty much because Dee Ford lined up with like a finger off sides. Yep. Brady throws an interception, doesn't count. Right. They get the ball, they win in overtime, and now it's come full circle where it's like, man, it's they're the ones that are getting all the calls. Not that was a bad call, it's just kind of funny.
The Chiefs in their 7th straight AFC championship, which is just mind-boggling. They're trying to become the first team to ever three-peat during the Super Bowl era. The Bills trying to win their first Super Bowl. Of course, the Bills franchise is the only franchise to have gone to 4 consecutive Super Bowls, and they happen to lose them all to the Giants, to Washington, and then twice to Dallas in the early 90s. Washington tried to do the impossible, go from 4-13 to a Super Bowl. What they've already done is impossible. And then Philly trying to get back to their to win their second after losing 2 years ago to the Chiefs.
By the way, can you bet on who's going to be in the luxury box with Haley Steinfeld? Because I know that now Caitlin Clark sits with Taylor Swift. So if Caitlin Clark can sit with Taylor Swift, then Haley Steinfeld, who I believe is the girlfriend of Josh Allen, if I'm not correct, who would sit with her? I would take for all the marbles. Dejanay Carrington, that is correct. Dejanay Carrington minus 450 to sit with Haley Steinfeld at the Bills game. Good call, Gilly.
Should bring Angel Reese in there. Get the whole Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark going.
Oh, that'd be awesome. All right. Do we have any bets for championship? And there's only 2 games, but do we have any bets?
I do.
What do you got, Todd?
I got the Philadelphia Fly. I learned the Eagles song. It goes like this: Fly, Eagles, fly on to victory. Fly, Eagles. I don't know any of the words, but I know the Fly, Eagles, fly part. It goes like this: Fly. It is such a dumb song, but they sing it constantly, like Fly, Eagles, fly. And all I can hear is the kid from Howard Stern, who is his name is Mark the Bagger, one of the Whack Pack, who loves the Eagles, and he goes, Fly, Eagles, fly. It's the funniest thing ever. Anyways, it's the dumbest song ever, but it was pretty funny. I like the Eagles, and I'm going to tell you why I like the Eagles. I went back through the 2 football games, and I'm going to throw the second game, the last 54 minutes of the second game, I'm going to throw right in the garbage. And the reason I'm going to throw the game right in the garbage is there is a former Yinzer quarterback at quarterback for the Eagles, a man named Kenny Pickett. And everyone down there said, actually, I think it was Kenny Pickett had the small hands in that, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
Anyways,
I think you're right.
I don't think. And that guy down there, well, look, I saw him at Permani's one time try to pick up a sandwich. He couldn't even do it. His hands are too small, and that's a big hoagie. Anyways, the point is the guy's got small hands. He's not a good quarterback. But that game was 54 minutes of Kenny Pickett, 6 minutes of Jalen Hurts. Now, I'll give the Redskins credit for coming back to win the game. And don't get me wrong, they're obviously – I love Daniels. I still have the 22-1 for Washington to win the Super Bowl. I'm sure I'm not going to get there, but – the thing is, in that game, they did not run the ball well. The only one who ran well was Daniels, 9 for 81. The other Robinson guy, the regular traditional runners couldn't run, just like they couldn't run against Tampa Bay. And look, they did some nice things on offense, but it was Kenny Pickett just trying to hold down the fort after getting a big lead. So I'm throwing that whole game in the garbage. I'm going back to the first game when everybody played. And the way the Commanders played tremendously well defensively in that first half of that game, and went to the break up 7-3. At that point, the Eagles made some adjustments.
10-3. Oh yeah, break 7-3, but then 10-3. You're right. Okay.
Then they got a field goal, right? So then from that point on, the Eagles scored 3 touchdowns and a field goal in the second half on long drives, and Washington really couldn't do too much in that second half, and the Eagles pulled away nicely. To me, the Commanders' defense is the fly in the ointment. Now, they got away with it. They don't roll your eyes, Gilly. They got away with it with the 5 turnovers. But let's be fair. Detroit could have scored 1,000 points in that game had they not turned the ball over every 4 seconds. And this team, the Eagles, they have a guy named Saquon Barkley. He has a tendency to run long distances. I believe he ran for a 69-yard touchdown in one of the games. They're not going to be able to stop the Eagles. So now it's a question: can Commanders hold up? I don't think they can hang with them. So I'm going to go with the Eagles. I'm going to lay the points. I don't want this to be the case because I have the Washington ticket to win the Super Bowl, but I have to be an objective guy and say Barry Bonds, Joe Gibbs, and the rest of them cannot bring home the game this week, and Mr. Fallica will be laughing all the way to the bank.
I have a couple. You're a poet, and you don't know it. Doesn't it feel like either Washington wins or loses by like double digits? Like it feels like they either go in there and win and pull the upset, or the Eagles kind of like that first meeting win by like 14 or something like that.
No outcome would surprise me. A couple of things. One, on the Kenny Pickett game that Todd throws out, he's also conveniently throwing out the fact that the Eagles were +3 in turnovers in that game and still fucking lost. So the Pickett narrative is a bit of, how can I put this, horse manure. Thank you.
He couldn't do anything though, Gilly.
So there's that. So
they ran the ball up and down the field though in that game though.
They were
they still ran the ball. They still had
2 ran Eagles
scored 33 points. There were 3 of 16 on third down in the game.
Allow me to finish.
So that's an argument for me.
That's what I'm saying. And I think it's applicable for this week because we don't know if Hurts is fully healthy and what he's going to be able to do. Should he play the first game rather in Philly with a concussion? I went back and was reading some of the quotes, and he's like, yeah, I don't remember that play. I probably shouldn't say that post game. And yeah, I managed to work my way through protocol. Like wink, wink. Like he played that first game with concussion, and they went like, I don't know. I know we're not giving out picks in terms of like props or anything like that, but I saw an Eagles team total over 26.5. It was -120, but that was that. How are the Eagles not scoring 26 points?
I like that. I like that a lot.
If I could finish my thought after the comma, where I will give you an Eagles
warning. What you are about to hear is coming from a man who has a slight bias. Warning. Oh, go ahead, Gilly.
What are you talking about? The argument for the Eagles is this, that they're a defense first team, which both the Lions and the Bucks were not, for instance, in the most 2 recent games. And what Jaden Daniels just absolutely feasts on, by the way, Jaden Daniels, total QBR out of 100. Since the Commanders' 7-game winning streak began, he has a total QBR of 82.3, ranked second only to Josh Allen. But against the blitz this year, 90.1 QBR this regular season. And by the way, against Detroit, it was 91.8. But what do the Eagles not have to do? Blitz. So that's for me, the biggest argument is the Eagles defense is so good. They have the 4th lowest blitz rate in the entire league this year. They can just play it kosher and let Jalen Carter do his thing. I think the Sam Cosmi injury is big on the Redskins offensive line. So I think that's the argument for the Eagles. But good luck. You're playing Boy Wonder. who to me is the greatest rookie quarterback who's ever played.
The Rams blocked him up pretty good. I was kind of surprised that Stafford had the time that he had to throw on a lot of that. So, I mean, obviously, and the other thing I was kind of surprised with it, Kyron Williams got some nice runs off too against him. I was kind of surprised about both of those. But I mean, I would think the Rams' offensive line is, I don't know how they grade out against Washington's offensive line.
I underestimated the Rams all year.
It's going to be a balmy day in Philly, in the 40s, by the way. So we'll not be in.
Yeah, I just looked. It looks like no snow. Either no snow, and not a lot of wind in either place.
Yeah, I just want to know. I just want to know, Todd, if Washington wins, are you going to do this again in the Super Bowl? Or you're like, okay, the Skins, our defense is lucky. Oh, that shit you do with the Skins defense.
Willie, let's ask Willie. Let's ask Willie, a guy who's still crying in his tears about Sammy Darnold. Willie, your thoughts on the Washington Commanders defense? Is it the Gilly smoke and mirrors? They're much better than everyone thinks they are, or am I right? And that they really stink?
Wait, what? No, don't misrepresent. What I said is you think they suck. I say they're middling, so that's why you underrate them.
I say they're below average. Is that fair? Willie, you make the call. Below average or above average or middle?
I say middling is a good word for it, but I was reading some of the Aaron Schott stuff, our buddy, and he had some stats where he just doesn't think this is a good matchup for Washington because their DVO ranks, the DVOA ranks for Washington, 26th run defense, 26th in second level run defense, and 31st in open field run defense. So he's got all these different breakdowns of like once they hit the second level, how well do they defend? Once you're in open field, how well do they defend? And he thinks if and when Barkley can get to the second level, there will be some explosive runs coming. So that
where does he have the Ravens? Really, doesn't he have the Ravens as the third best team in the history of football, going all the way back to Newt Rockne in 1921?
Seventh best since 1979.
Okay, I'll take Newt Rockne above him. But go ahead.
And the Chiefs are the worst 15-2 team, right?
That is correct. Saquon Barkley, to Willie's point, against Washington, averaging just over 137 scrimmage yards per game. The only player to average more scrimmage yards against a single opponent in NFL history, minimum 10 games, Jim Brown against the Eagles. So whenever you invoke the name of Jim Brown, you pretty much own a team. And Saquon has owned.
So wait, is that good? Is that good for the Commanders?
No. I'm giving you all your bullet points. I'm giving you guys all the respect, all the bullet points. All I'm saying is this. This is all gravy for us. They were never supposed to get to the playoffs. They got to the playoffs. But during the year, all I kept saying was, they're going to get to the playoffs. At the most, they win one game. Then they go into Detroit. By the way, there's not a Washington fan among us who went into Detroit and was like, oh yeah, we're going to crush them by, for 2 scores, basically 3 scores, right? But it was 2 scores in the end. There's not a Washington fan who at this point isn't like, holy fuck, what is happening? So if they lose, it would surprise nobody. But the fact that they're 60 minutes away and have more than a puncher's chance, this isn't like Buster Douglas. This is, they've already beaten this team. And this kid just went into Detroit and beat the greatest Lions team in franchise history badly.
Oh, can I say one thing about that from me and Willie? And Willie, I don't know about you, Willie. At first, when I saw Dan Campbell crying, I was like, oh, you got to feel for Dan Campbell. And then I hearkened back to a time when me and Willie had a great bet. Under 28.5 attempts for Jared Goff against Jaguars. And that asshole up 49-7. They might have been up 77-7 in the fourth quarter throwing the goddamn ball. So I do not have even a scintilla of empathy for that endless wings and endless passes. You got what you deserved. You ever heard of karma? It's a bitch, Dan. Cry, Eagles, cry, Dan Campbell, bah. Go to hell, Dan Campbell, for throwing the ball against the Jags. We deserve him to be out of there.
You know what this reminds? Go ahead, Will.
No, go ahead. Okay, last thing I want to say about this, because I don't want to go too crazy on Daniels. My favorite Daniels. Did you hear the Aaron Andrews stat about Daniels? Jaden Daniels, more games with no punts and no turnovers than Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, and Patrick Mahomes combined in their careers. All year I've been saying that. It is really hard to beat a team. This is football 101. We can take all that other shit I said. This is football 101. If you are playing a team where the quarterback does not fumble, does not throw picks, and they never fucking punt the football, and he never gets sacked, good fucking luck.
87% on fourth down. I sent you guys that fourth down thing this week. Did you see that? They're 87% on 87%. Fourth down, not even close to the number 2 team. It's like way, way ahead.
Yeah, number 2 team was 75 of the remaining playoff teams. Right. So I'm just saying, could it end any given day? Sure. But, and by the way, that 87% is not like, oh, is that sustainable? It's always fourth and short, right? When people throw out blanket fourth down stats, they fail to like differentiate between 4th and 7 or 4th and 2. And it's always short yardage, and it's automatic with this kid. This is not the Eagles team that won the Super Bowl, where Doug Peterson got all this credit for their ridiculous luck of hitting 3rd and 7 and beyond at an unsustainable rate, which they happened to sustain for a full year, right? So this is different. Anyway, I have no bet on it. So I'm just telling you, I'm just laying out the case for both sides.
My official bet is Eagles -6, and my second favorite bet is the Chris Fallica team total Eagles over. I love it. I love it, Chris.
I'll go with Eagles -6 as well as an official bet.
I'm sitting here thinking about this, Gill. And I'm thinking back and like just as a team, like long-suffering Jets fan, like it reminds me. Like you talk about like the mentality of like the Skins fans, like, oh, house money. And like by the time Sunday comes around, you're convincing yourself they're going to win. So I'm thinking back to what was it, 2010 season? No, here's what I'm getting at. Like the Jets.
Mark Sanchez in Indy.
Beat Peyton Manning in Indy, and they beat the Patriots. Like, oh my God, they Pittsburgh, they're going to go to they're going to beat the Steelers and go to the Super Bowl. Like they can beat the Steelers, and then it just didn't click, and they were like spent by the. It was funny. I was talking to someone
very
around, and I'm like, they're going to beat the, and he's like, I wish you would have talked to me before the game because I knew they had no chance. They were just mentally and physically spent, and they weren't going to go to Pittsburgh and win. So it like reminds me of that as like a fan mentality. Like it's like, oh, we got no shot. We got no shot. Wow, we beat Peyton Manning. All right, we're not going to beat the Patriots. Oh my God, we beat the Patriots. Oh, one it's finally going to happen. And now it's like, I just hope by Sunday you're not setting yourself up for a gut punch like I had in that January.
Oh, not me. I would never get optimistic that morning. No, of course I won't.
Okay, good. But good.
But you bring up Sanchez, and you brought up the Steelers and Roethlisberger. Like, so Jaden Daniels is the sixth rookie quarterback ever to get to a conference championship game. The other 5, Sean King with Tampa, had a 3rd-ranked defense with Tampa. Ben Roethlisberger in 2004 with the Steelers defense under Dick LeBeau was the 1st-ranked defense in football. Joe Flacco with the Ravens in 2008, the Ravens had the 3rd-ranked defense, 3rd top-ranked defense. Mark Sanchez for your Jets in 2009, the Jets had the 3rd-ranked defense. Brock Purdy 2 years ago with the Niners had the number 1-ranked defense. Jaden Daniels' defense is 18th. Also,
I heard they're middling. I heard they were middling.
Middling. That's very middling.
That's kind of middling. That's the middle third.
That's middle. And also, Ben, by the way, the dead average. Middle is 16.5, right? So 16 on the button, right? So also the other thing about this, last thing, like you think about those teams, Roethlisberger and Sanchez, those teams, if you remember, were like, okay, don't fuck this up. Just don't do anything wrong. Yep. The defense will win this game. 3rd down, and okay, just we'll run the ball into the cloud of dust and we'll punt with it. They were
babysitters.
Not only are they not that, but they're like, all right, Jaden, it's 4th and 4. Have at it. It's like the complete opposite. There's no question he's the greatest rookie quarterback of all time.
Of course, it's not even close. I mean, he was also 500 years older than everybody else, but I do agree with. Obviously, we all agree that Jaden Daniels is better than all those other guys. But that's obvious. And Jaden Daniels,
you know who else was 500 years older than everybody else? Chris Wenke. So that's not a guarantee either.
Chris Wenke was a great baseball player, if I remember correctly.
He was.
But anyways, that I think we all know where you're coming down. Jaden, Barry, U.S. Bonds, Gibbs, Daniels.
No.
To take your team
I don't have a bet. I don't have a bet. What I'm saying is any outcome, there's no outcome that would surprise me. If the Skins won, it wouldn't surprise me. If they covered, it wouldn't surprise me. If the Eagles won by 2 scores, 14 points, it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. I'm just saying there's a lot of people who are super confident about the Eagles, and I'm like, easy.
By the way, do they still have "Hail to the Commanders" as the song? Is that gone? Right, but I'm saying, did they take that song?
The Commanders thing is like left. Like there's some bullshit song where people are like left hand up.
They don't play the "Hail to the Redskins" anymore. That thing is gone.
I mean, the real fans do. The real fans do. I don't know if they do officially. I don't know.
Oh, see, I was going to give them a better song because it's way better than "Fly Eagles Fly." It's way better. "Hail to the Redskins" is like
"Hail to the Redskins" is great.
Greatest jam of all time. Yeah. The marquee matchup is not that one.
No,
yes,
before we get to I have a question for you. What are you rooting for more this weekend? A Washington football team commander taco holder win in the NFC Championship game to get to the Super Bowl, or a pair of 6-2, 6-2 wins by Igas Swiatek over Madison Keys, and then either Sabalenka or Badosa in the Australian Open final? What would bring a bigger smile to your face and warm your heart more?
I'm going with Commanders for Gilly. He's still Commanders all the way back.
The Swiatek win would make me more money by far. And of course, it would keep her on pace with Serena to be the greatest of all time, which is, again, my boldest prediction of all. But Todd
no one
who
follows tennis actually believes that.
Yeah. This is everybody will believe it. Just like no one believed it. Just like no one believed it, Chris, when I said she would win double-digit majors. They'll all get there. It's just we're just a little too ahead of history. But the Washington football team, come on. My buddy Reza in the Bay Area, Iranian friend of mine, used to ask me. He goes, Gil, if the Redskins fought Israel in a war, who would you fight for?
Redskins, probably. I would say you fight for the Redskins.
I fight for the Redskins. I chose the Redskins.
I took the Steelers minus 3.5 against Israel in 1983 on the road.
To the marquee matchup, Buffalo and Kansas City. No Ravens. Buffalo, Kansas City. Josh Allen has the Patrick Mahomes hurdle. The Chiefs are now favored by 2 in this game. Any bets here? Nobody.
I looked back at this game. The Bills kind of won this game a lot easier than it really seemed. I thought the Bills were definitely. I looked at all the drive charts, back from the first game, but I don't want to go against Andy and Spags, and it's just too hard to call. I don't know what you guys think, but
feels like an under game to me. Neither offense, real. I mean, you talk about we saw how Buffalo was just so fortunate last week with the turnover luck, and you only had 1 penalty, and they gained a couple of first downs by Ravens penalty. I mean, Allen was 16 of 22 for $126 to front. That's insane to be able to win a game like that where you average 4 yards a play. Like, I don't know. And then Kansas City the same way. I mean, if it wasn't throwing at Kelsey, the Chiefs couldn't move the ball, and they got a couple of drives extended by penalties, like we talked about. Like, I don't know. It almost feels like one of those. And again, you can't handicap this based on like emotion and a gut feel, but it's like it almost comes full circle, where like the Bills were meant to come back here to end the dynasty, maybe not end that, but end the 3-peat run to get here and win this game. Like, I take the Bills +2 here. It feels like Kansas City just all. It was funny. We were talking about how all of the upsets, like and what's going to wind up happening come playoffs, is we're going to get a Super Bowl without the Chiefs or the Lions, and I think that's going to. I like the Bills on Sunday.
I think whoever you pick in this game, if you get the game wrong, you're going to feel like an idiot. If you go against Mahomes and Reed and you lose and they beat you, why the hell did I pick against them? But if you go against the Bills and you pick the Chiefs, man, it was like you're saying, it's the Bills' time. The Bills were kind of due. The Chiefs weren't as good as their record. The Bills were kind of due to break through and beat them when it counts. So I don't know. I'm at the point where until I see it happen with the Bills beating the Chiefs in a big spot, it's funny. They always beat them in the playoff. They always beat them in the regular season. They never beat them in the playoffs. And I do think you have to factor into like, hey, Chiefs are going to get one or two calls at home instead of crying about it. Kind of factor it into your handicapping. Bills might be they got a couple of D-backs banged up. I don't know their status rap, and I think it's Benford the other guy, and maybe. And I thought about the Washington game too. Or they do a little turnover aggression because Bills were +3 in turnovers last week, just like Washington's +6 in turnovers for the postseason. 6 takeaways, no giveaways. Buffalo's 3 takeaways, no giveaways. Man, you're going to Kansas City with a little turnover aggression, maybe. Not that it's going to manifest in one game, but it is something that at least I considered.
Who said defense wins championships? By the way, who said defense wins championships?
Johnny Carrington said it.
No, it wasn't her. Somebody said defense wins championships. I think you guys would all agree the Chiefs' offense is worse, the Chiefs' defense is better. So on that score, you might want to take the Kansas City Spagnolas because their defense is better. But what were you?
The only thing I would say to that, and while I agree with you, is the one thing that a defense cannot account for is when all the shit breaks down and you got Josh Allen scrambling for 22 yards on 3rd and 7. Like that's the only issue you have when like relying on a dominant defense to win is the stuff that you just can't defend because you're not expecting it.
That's a great point. What Will said, though, you'll feel stupid either way. Let me put it another way. If these two games, both the NFC and AFC championship, but let's say they weren't the AFC and NFC championship, let's say it was week 11. They both played each other in week 11. If this was in the middle of a 10 a.m. Or a 1 p.m. East Coast window, these two games existed among 6 others. Would you be betting these two games?
Probably not.
No.
Probably not. Probably not. Because we go back and forth. The only reason we're betting them is because they're there. Yeah.
What's the Kansas City weather?
It's supposed to be fine. Around 30s, right around 30s, no wind.
By the way, did you like that there was big snow in the Rams-Eagles game? Because I brought this up by text.
Loved it.
I love it. I love it. But I remember my dad used to say, he'd be like, it's a shame that such a big game is decided by weather, right? And I also pointed out he's the same guy that also said the way to make baseball fair is to let everybody take steroids, right? So his version of what was fair,
even at the playing field, exactly. I love it.
Floating target. But I because some people will be like, oh, that sucks that a game, gets decided with inclement weather. I still love it.
Did you see what Kurt Warner said about this on video on Twitter? He actually made it. I happen to agree with both of you. I like it when the weather's in there, because you could get the home field advantage and all that stuff. Kurt Warner had a whole video saying it's not fair because if you're on Arizona, like his team, right, was Arizona at the end of his career. He said in Arizona, they can come down to play in our building and there's no problem with weather. It's like perfect weather every single time and there's no issue whatsoever. And whereas we can't do that over there, they have the opportunity if it's snowing to get something special, whereas we don't, which was an interesting point to me. But then what?
Boo-hoo. But then isn't that part of home field advantage? When you win games, get home field advantage.
Right, but what he's saying, but what he's saying is his home field advantage can't be as big a deal as the other team's home field advantage because they play in a regular, stadium that's perfect. Now you could also argue the other side. Remember when the dome teams used to have, I don't know what happened to that where it got so loud. Remember when it used to get so loud in domes?
Pump in the artificial noise.
Yeah. So that, you can go, I personally like it when the weather is part of it and everything. So I don't really agree with Kurt Warner, but he kind of made me question it a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, no one forced him to sign with Arizona. And it's not like the weather snuck up on the northern cities versus the southern, right? And so it's like, yeah, that's true. But like, you knew this in advance kind of thing, right? So I don't have
but all he's trying to say is that they have a better,
the better benefit.
Right. They have a better benefit on their home.
I understand that. No, obviously I understand that, right? But like, look at RFK.
So why should
we had a great home field. We had a great home field. The place shook.
Right. But everybody has that with that your fans could be loud. But whereas the Northeastern teams, the weather teams and the Seattle with the rain and stuff, they have an extra added benefit that they can throw into their home field advantage goulash is what he's saying.
Right,
and I kind of agree
let's just
with
say it's unfair. Let's just go one step further and let's all agree it's completely unfair. Okay, what's the solution? What do you want to do? Play have neutral fields for all
Willie, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Willie, I agree with you.
Yeah.
This has been football since the dawn of time. And again, I'll get back to what I said before, which still stands, which is, okay, then don't sign with Arizona. If it bothers you.
No, I know there's been some conversation in the past about having the conference championship games played neutral setting, almost like they have the Final Four at one destination and play one game Saturday, play one game Sunday, and have it be a total event. I don't think I would like that, but I've heard that idea, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
I like home field advantage. Yeah.
God, I wish there was another game this weekend because I'd love to tease the Buffalo Kansas City total up and go under that with something else. 47.
I thought you were going to use the Bills as a teaser. Like Bills, to me, the Bills is a great teaser. Like that game should be close.
Yeah, that too. I'd love to tease both of those up with something.
I believe North Florida, Chris, is going to be playing on Saturday, and they have a tendency to go over the total. The North Florida Osprey. Check out the North Florida Ospreys team total, either against them or for them, because they like to give up $1 million. And by the way, I checked this out on Ken Palm. You know, obviously in all sports, and this goes for football as well, when you have a team that's tremendous on offense and terrible on defense and plays at a high pace in football or basketball, it's always an over team. And the difference between their offense and their defensive ranking, they're like 70th on offense and like 350th on defense. They're like one of the most extreme teams ever. It's almost like that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team with when Jameis was throwing all those interceptions and me and Jeff Parles were rooting them home over every single week because they were so good on offense and so bad on defense. And then, you know, so I just love those kind of teams. That's a great thing for all of sports, by the way. If you see teams that are great on offense and terrible on defense, they have a tendency to be like huge over teams because the averages can't catch up with that.
Yeah, Bradley, another hoops team that's a big. They play
very
Saturday
skilled
against the Illinois State Redbirds.
Oh, that'll be a good one. Illinois State team. They're an over team too.
Did anybody bet any Super Bowl MVP players? Anybody?
No,
I did not.
No, nobody.
Super Bowl MVP.
Super Bowl MVP. So getting ahead of the possible. So you don't know sight unseen if they're going to be there, but. You know, the thinking being, hey, if Washington gets there, let me put in a Jaden Daniels bet now, that kind of thing. Or if Baltimore got there, a lot of people were betting Lamar already. Okay, so nobody. So here's the last one.
Now that you brought it up, I might look.
Yeah.
Is there an argument? Is there an argument to make that if the Chiefs do get there, like it could be someone other than Mahomes, being that the Chiefs' offense has been.
There's an argument to be made. I don't want to back it up with money. These things are so slanted towards the quarterback. I mean, I know. Who are you saying? Somebody made the case that, hey, if it was last week, it would have gone to Kelsey's the MVP. Maybe
Matt Brown made that. Matt Brown on Ready.
But that on VSiN. First Niners Chiefs Super Bowl, was it Damian Williams scored 3 touchdowns and he got MVP? Williams. Obviously, no, he didn't. They still gave it to Mahomes. Like it's just James White was another one. He might have had 3 touchdowns against the Falcons in one of those Patriot Falcon Super Bowls. Still went to Brady. It's like it's just you gotta I don't even know I don't even know what to steal this from these, especially these big name quarterbacks.
And by the way, Josh Allen,
even if the Eagles were to get to the game, like I'm sure, like Barkley would be the guy everyone.
Barkley would be a different scenario. Yes, Barkley would be a different scenario.
Like you could be, he's 5-1. Like I mean, but is that worth betting? I mean, I wouldn't. Josh Allen do it. Could you go like really, really off the board and look for like one of the defensive guys? Could you look for like a Jalen Carter or something like that on the defense?
Yeah, and then you could not cash your bet probably.
Yeah, I had the. Who was it? Who won when the Rams won? Was it Cooper Kupp who won or Aaron Donald who won?
Yeah,
Aaron Donald should have won.
I had Aaron Donald. I was convinced I was going to win.
Yeah,
and they gave it to Cooper Kupp.
And then some people said they voted before that final drive, and Donald like made the final play to disrupt Burrow or like get pressure on him. And people are like, I already had my vote in for we had to turn our votes in early or whatever. So it's tough.
That's a good point. That's a good point because they're making those votes on the fly in the Super Bowl, so you don't even get to the end of the game with some of these votes. But Josh Allen is priced exactly like the Bills are, so it's not like there's an advantage betting Super Bowl MVP there. But
do we think Hurts is A, playing, and B, how healthy do we think he is?
Playing, yes. Healthy, probably not.
Probably not.
So that goes back to what Jeff Schwartz always says on our pod. Like he's like, are you hurt or are you injured? Because at this point in the year, everybody is hurt. but is he like injured, like legit injured? So that's gonna
kind of like
so.
If you go to the Bacchanal buffet, and you're like 2 plates in, you're somewhat injured, but you're not hurt. You can go back for plates 3 and 4, and then you can hit the middle of the place with the dessert cart. But now, prior to all that, then after all that, then you may be injured.
The Jets have hired Aaron Glenn, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, I had heard either Aaron Glenn or Joe Brady were the 2 names that I had heard.
Give me the under. I don't think Aaron Glenn's going to be the answer.
He was the head of that great Detroit defense we saw on Saturday night. That was
what was so great about
Detroit defense that slowed Sam Darnold down to 9 points.
He's joking. The first question I would have asked Aaron Glenn, and Todd doesn't get humor unless it's from him. Aaron Glenn, the first question I would have asked him in an interview is, what happened on that 12 men on the field, Aaron? And that would be if he doesn't have a good answer, that's the end of the interview.
Hey, Barry Bonds, I knew they were joking, Barry Bonds. Okay, it's okay.
No, you didn't. You had no idea they were joking. You have no fucking idea they were joking. By the
Seriously,
way,
so now you're going to have Aaron Glenn, first-time head coach, with a first-time GM, the guy that I think is going to be the GM and doesn't have any experience. You have to make a massive decision at quarterback, like what are you going to do at quarterback to bridge? I'm assuming Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back. You're dealing with an owner who is clueless in the biggest media market in the country. All we're going to see now for the next week or so, and then again when the regular season starts again, Aaron Glenn giving up the touchdown to Mark Ingram on the fake spike. Like, you talk about being put in a position to absolutely fail. Like this is textbook.
I like Tyrod
already
Taylor.
Optimistic. By the way,
I do like Tyrod
Brown
Taylor. Why don't they let Tyrod Taylor be the quarterback?
I just want to get the Matt Brown thing.
Go ahead. Tell us about Matt Brown, because we're dying to hear about Matt Brown.
No, it was to back up what Will was saying earlier, that he was making the point that they could not have given it to Mahomes. Mahomes threw for 177 yards against the Texans and 1 touchdown. 117 of those 177 and the touchdown went to Travis Kelce. That was his point.
Yeah.
Last question, and then we can get out of here. And this has nothing to do with betting, but I said this. I'm going to put out a clip a little later about this. I said this on a numbers game, and I'm curious if you guys agree or disagree. I believe as a group of 4 teams, this is the most flawed and maybe the worst collective group of 4 that I can ever remember. Because if you go back in recent history, I'm just saying, let's go, if you go 1 year by 1 year, San Francisco last year, Aaron Schatz had him as one of the top 10 of all time, right? And they lost. All those Kansas City Mahomes team with Tyreek, all those Brady teams, right? I look at these 4 teams and I'm like, are any of them great? And I don't think they are. I think this is
one of them,
maybe
the 7th best team ever.
Well, that's true. One of them did. I don't know. I'm sure there's a year.
Team. By the way, can I just say something? The Ravens are not the 7th best team in the history of the National Football League, even before they didn't lose to the Bills. I don't know what he has in his model, but I'd like to look under the hood. The Ravens are not do any of you guys here? And by the way, Aaron Schatz is obviously a very brilliant man, and he's great. I'm not taking any shots at him. I'm just saying, do any of you guys really think the Ravens? Sure. Well, in this particular case, I'm disagreeing. You can disagree with people who, are brilliant. Do any of you guys think that the Ravens were the 7th best team in the history of the National Football League?
You see how you don't get humor, Todd? Aaron Schatz was joking the whole time with that.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, there you go.
No, seriously.
He had him 7th best of all time. And then last year, remember, he had both the Niners and Ravens as top 10 teams of all time. Which didn't get there.
I'm asking you.
I agree with your point, Todd. I agree with your assessment, Todd.
Yes, Todd.
Thank you, Willie. Chris, do you think it was?
Okay, Todd, can we not hijack the original question?
That it was what?
The original question, God damn it, is this the worst group of 4 ever? I don't know if it is.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this right now, and I'm trying to. I'm looking at the stand, the Cardinals Steelers in 2008.
I was going to say that one too. That's so weird. You're going to bring that up because Brady got hurt that year. That's so weird. You're going to bring that up.
It's like even
who did they beat in the Final Four?
Flacco was a rookie. They beat him. Arizona was a lower seed, and then Philly upset the Giants. That's it's funny you brought that up. I was like, man, nobody was even going to remember that. 08 when
the Donovan McNabb once. The Donovan McNabb game, they lost 32-25 to Arizona for the Super Bowl, right? And that Eagles team was a really good team, if I'm not mistaken. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it was Warner Fitzgerald. When the Cardinals were 9-7 that year.
Right. No, but I'm saying the Eagles. We're talking about the Final Four.
Oh, the Eagles.
Gilly said the Final Four. The Eagles was a great team, weren't they?
Wild card team. They didn't win the division.
No, the Eagles were 9-6-1. The Giants were.
Okay.
Panthers. The Panthers.
And ironically, Kurt Warner played the Eagles in Arizona. So we talked about like the Arizona playing in Philly and how that would be a disadvantage, but that was where it was flipped where Philly had to go to Arizona.
Philly opened their playoff run that year with a 26-14 win over
the Vikings,
North Minnesota.
Yes.
I just think it's interesting to bookmark it, to say it out loud now, because as time goes on, people will look back and they'll be like, what are you talking about? It was Mahomes. It was Allen. Jaden Daniels rookie year. What are you talking about? Yeah. But like right now in the moment, it's sort of like, yeah, none of them are real. Because Washington with the middling defense, Kansas City fans will tell you this is not nearly their best team. I think Buffalo Bills fans will tell you the same. And the Eagles will absolutely tell you the same, even though their defense is awesome. Oh,
that's right. In 2008, that was too the Brady ACL year. So the Patriots didn't even have Brady that year. The Dolphins won that was a real Fugazi type year.
Tomlin's only title.
Yeah.
Will Hill, a lifelong crusade to bash Mike Tomlin. I love it.
Tomlin and Vrabel's not far behind. Vrabel's on my list too.
Yeah, are we sure? Like this is like the home run. Like I like him and all, but I don't know, man.
Well, he said in his press conference about how they got to run the ball and how when you run the ball X amount of times, that leads you to a good record. I was like, that's man. Yeah, when you run the ball 20 plus times, you win 70% of your games, man. We're really doing this. By the way,
the first half of the Super Bowl. First half of the Super Bowl in the Cardinals Steelers, it was over 23.5 was the first half. The score was 10-7. I had a huge bet on over 23.5, and I'm just rooting against my Steelers. I'm rooting for Kurt Warner to punch it in so that they go up 14-10 at the half, and he throws it to Harrison, and I almost have a heart attack.
James Harrison, really going rumbling down the sideline. It's going to be 97. Did he get it? Did he hit the pylon? Yes.
By the way, the pylon. Let's say it, Chris. It's funny that you said that the pylon did play a role in that play. If you remember that, and what's his name came from out of bounds. Larry Fitzgerald came from out of bounds to tackle him, and then they had to do the whole replay. And I was like losing my mind, and he barely got the tip in on the pylon. It was
that was Madden's last game.
Oh, that was Madden's last game.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great That's a great note.
All right.
Are we done here? That's like another one. Like the random broadcast notes is that for the 93 Notre Dame and Florida State 1-2 game, O.J. Simpson was on the sideline. It was the sideline announcer.
Oh, wow.
What was he? Why was he notable, Chris?
He was a 1968 Heisman Trophy winner and ran for
Nordberg.
All right.
What's commercials?
I believe we've done all we can do.
Just saying.
This has been rollicking. This has been spirited.
By the way,
this has been magic.
By the way, I'm betting in 52 minutes. I'm betting Norwich under a half a goal against Leeds.
I'm in. See, I told you, Todd. I told you Bear would be good. We said that Bear was going to be the guest. Todd said in our group chat, he goes, "He's a college guy. He doesn't really know the NFL. We already had him on one side. We have him back." I don't know why.
No, I think what I said was, why do they give those network jobs to know nothings? I believe I said, why do they give those network jobs to know nothings? That's what I said.
Well, like me, exactly. I admit it. I am a know nothing. I'm just a pretty face.
That's what you are. Exactly what you are. Why are you laughing, Todd?
By the way, what about Kirk Herbstreit? Chris's friend, Kirk Herbstreit. I happen to really like Kirk Herbstreit, and a lot of people, take shots at him. And they were taking shots at him about the Ohio State winning the thing, and he was all emotional about it. I mean, I think that is a little I don't think you should do that. But
okay, I'm gonna give you a follow. Did you hear him yesterday as to why he kind of had a breaking point there? Did you?
Because his whole his family or something was a whole bunch of things happening.
Basically his son Zach 2 years ago had to quit football. He had a heart failure basically, and they were talking about him maybe having to get a heart transplant, and he's doing better now. I don't know where it stands and what the future is with that. And then this year, Allie, his wife, got diagnosed with breast cancer, and he's on the road all year. His dog died. It was kind of like Ryan Day and Chip Kelly kept Zach around and almost had him be as like a GA and really helping around the team and treated him well. And it was just to see him with his wife in the booth next to him watching the game, and to see Zach getting and it was just kind of everything was kind of a release. So.
Right. I like Kirk Herbstreit.
It was a hard thing to watch, I think, for a lot of people. But there was a little bit more to it than just him being, my alma mater won the national championship. I'm happy. And it was funny because he did this hit with McAfee yesterday, and Patty even said that A.J. Hawk was getting teary as a former player, former captain at Ohio State, watching Ohio State win. So there is a little something to seeing a team that you were captain for and being around so much win. I don't know anything about that because I don't think any of my teams have won anything since Yankees World Series over the Phillies, I think, was the last thing that any of my teams won. It came close with the Islanders when they lost that Game 7 in Tampa a few years ago on the conference final and a shorthanded goal. Only shorthanded goal the Isles allowed all year. So yeah, if you're rooting for a winning team that you don't want, I'm certainly not your fan.
I got emotional last week, and they won a divisional round game.
Gilly, if they won the Super Bowl, you'll be bawling like it's out of
Charlie Brown tears.
Yeah.
But to Chris's point, because my mom passed away, and then the Miracles pass against the Bears. My dad and I used to go to the games. I mean, it's more than just the game itself. So.
No, if the Steelers win and I get free parking, sometimes I shed a tear if I get the free parking.
It gets emotional. It's very emotional.
Yeah. What about if it's only $40 parking as opposed to $80 parking?
No, that's not as big a deal. You got to go. It's $100 for the valet. That's when you start crying.
Okay. Are we allowed to let people go on about their way for the rest of the day now? Are we done?
Yes.
Are we done? Okay. Chris Fallica, everybody. At Chris Fallica on Twitter. Fallica. Big Noon Saturdays, of course, during college football season. The Bear Bets podcast, which he does with Jeff Schwartz, with Will Hill, with Sammy P, pro in college football. What do you do after football season? You do other sports?
Yeah, we'll probably take a little bit of time off after the Super Bowl. That will be the annual Turks and Caicos vacation. But we'll be back for March Madness for sure. Maybe a little Masters preview, the Kentucky Derby, and then before you know it, we'll be previewing college football again.
Sorry, I'll miss you in Turks. Love Turks.
I know.
Will Hill.
We'll miss you and Bashful Stylist Derby song.
Oh, not the Will Hill for Will. Should have bet more is the name of his podcast. Check it out. And then Todd Wishnev at T Wishnev, the star of the Showtime docuseries Action, accepting your college basketball inquiries as we speak. Yes, Todd. No.
Yeah, but I'm starting to win again. Thankfully, hopefully we can keep.
Who's this year's FAU? Will.
Oh, you can't hold him to that now.
Yeah, I don't know yet. I got some. It's funny because I bet this stuff every night, like the totals and stuff. But Tara's diving into these teams. You know, a team I was just looking over odds, looking for a sleeper. St. John's at 40-1 is interesting, but they don't shoot free throws well. They don't play transition D. But getting Patino team at 40-1 is at least intriguing.
I like Michigan State, and I like Michigan too, but I like Michigan State even more.
I used a free bet on Michigan the other day, Todd. I think it was 30-1.
I didn't realize they got that big kid from Yale from the tournament last year. Wolf, is it Danny Wolf?
Yeah. He's like a 7-foot point guard, and they have 8,000 guys who shoot threes. Every single guy shoots threes well.
He's a good coach. That's the old FAU coach. It's May.
Wisconsin is another team.
Next week on this podcast, the 14th annual Vegas Lifestyle Podcast. You believe I've been doing this podcast for 14 years? Betting dork before beating the book. So the Vegas Lifestyle Podcast.
There's going to be a cutout during the show for like hotspots in Fairfield and, where to, meet people in Fairfield. I'm not going to say who you might meet, but
let's tour the Fairfield campus.
Wait a minute, but you two aren't on the Vegas Lifestyle, right? You guys beg out of the Vegas Lifestyle one.
Beg out.
I don't remember.
Oh, no, beg out. You don't invite them.
No, they don't want to be on. They don't want to be on. It's a Vegas Lifestyle with Meltzer like Seltzer, Mark Meltzer, and Steve Fezzik, who will tell you how to chintz the casinos out of every last dollar.
Not just dollars.
He was wound up the other day.
Donut, pastry, juice, anything that's not nailed down.
What do you have? The Luger gift cards that he showed us the other day that he got from Peters?
It's 10,000. It's 10-star points. All you have to do is 10-star points. If you walk in and you do this and you play on that, then you get 14 points and then you get.
It's very actionable.
Good for him, though, man. They take seriously. The casino, they take advantage of us in more ways imaginable. Any time we can turn the tables, good.
Yeah,
good.
Maybe we'll get Crack on. If Crack wants to come on and tell you how to chintz the other part that Fezzik doesn't, it'll be great. So that's next week, 14th annual Vegas Lifestyle.
I need an update from Crack on. Remember, was it last year when one of his
real estate agents,
one of his friends with what was that? Will?
Real estate. He had some takes on real estate agents last week in the numbers game.
Yeah,
real estate agents catching a stray.
Where there was a family friend, and I don't know if the kid had autism or something, and the casinos took him in and wouldn't pay him or something. Need an update on that.
Okay, we'll get that from Crack. I don't know if he wants to do the podcast or not, but we have an extra.
He'll know what he's talking about, though. I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. If not, Crack will be on a numbers game tomorrow.
Gilly, I'll just give you like a preview. Gilly will be like, well, I saw, when I saw Lady Gaga, it was so unbelievable on her, and Meltzer, what do you think? Whoa, she was unbelievable.
That's so not the show. So not the show. By the way,
it got a little feisty last year, and it was fun to listen to as a listener, but got a little feisty because I think Fez was trying to get Meltzer comply with, hey, if you do this, you can get different bets, and Meltzer wanted nothing to do with it. You have to go back and listen to last year. It got a little contentious.
Is that why
strong? But
is that why Stevie before when I said
Lombardi? Was it Lombardi, Wishnev, Dinzik type contentious?
No,
look, Wishnev was not part of that one. That was Lombardi, Bat Brown, and Dinzik.
And Trey Lance.
You better remind Meltzer. Remind Meltzer to tell about the what's that guacamole that we got at that place by the beach club at one of those.
Yes.
That guacamole is unbelievable. You better.
What were you saying? What were you saying, Gil? About that? Is that why Fez something? And then you.
Yeah, because Fezzik, when I said, it's Vegas Lifestyle next week, he goes, I don't think Meltzer likes me. So now you've explained it to me. Yeah, now you've explained it to me. I was like, he doesn't? What are you talking about?
I think Fez might be on something.
Yeah, no, sure. All right, I'm out of here. Let's go.
See you guys.
Well done, gentlemen. Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening. Good luck with all your bets. Championship weekend in the National Football League.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.